You know, I'm old enough to remember a crazy, wild time back in the depths of history where you could buy a game, put it in your games console, and guess what? It would just work.
What? Were you saying something? Look, I don't speak Spanish.
No 5-hour installs, no queue of hard drive devouring updates, no laundry list of patches just to get the thing running. You just put it in and played it. And the best part is you could keep playing it as long as you still had the disc and didn't decide to use it as a coffee coaster or a doorstop. It didn't matter if the developer went out of business, or the publisher decided to revoke the rights, or some idiot managed to crash the company's server. None of that made any difference because it was just you in the game, and it was yours to own and use forever. Modern gaming is a very different beast though, and that's what I really want to talk about today. Like, how many times have you bought a game in recent years, put the disc in, all excited to play it, only to find yourself staring at an install progress bar for the next 3 hours? So you put the console into rest mode and come back a few hours later to find that the whole thing is ground to a halt because you didn't have enough hard drive space to accommodate the massive bloated monstrosity that you're trying to cram in there. So you have to start deciding which other games get to live or die, like some doctor performing triage after a mass casualty event. But that is just the beginning. You want to stream the game or play with your friends online, do you? Well, that'll be another 10 hours of patches and updates just to get a barely functional version of the game that can talk to all the other versions floating around out there. Then there's the random updates that always seem to happen at the least convenient time possible when you finally manage to carve out a couple of hours to game with your buddies, only to find out that half the group don't have the latest patch containing gimmicky celebrity skins and character models that nobody fucking wants anyway, but for some reason are absolutely mandatory for the game to even function, and it's gonna be at least an hour before they're ready. Then cast your mind forward to the end of this great circle of gaming, when the game itself falls victim to the endless battle for declining hard drive space and has to be deleted to make way for the next piece of bloatware. Then perhaps a few months or years later, you get a hankering to play it again, so you put the game in and brace yourself to go through the whole torturous process again, but oh no, while you were away, the developers decided it was no longer cost effective to maintain the servers, so bye bye online gaming with your friends. But you can still stream it in single player mode, right?
Wrong.
Nope, because without the servers you can't download all those vital updates that allow the game to work online in the first place, or just work in general, so what you're stuck with instead is a buggy, unfinished, barely functional piece of shit that cost upwards of $80 and can't do much of anything now except eat up hard drive space. And that's the best case scenario. More and more games these days don't even come on discs at all, so even if you do buy a physical copy, it's literally just an access key for you to download the game itself from the developer's server. And if that server ever happens to go offline because of technical failures, commercial changes, or the company just straight up going out of business, guess what? You're fucked, and you'll never be able to play that game again. All of this is to say that, well, I kind of fucking hate what gaming's become now. I hate how managing my gaming library's become more convoluted than filing my tax returns, praying I haven't missed out some vital subsection or obscure patch buried 3 menus deep. I hate how buying a new game means embarking on a multi-day emotional rollercoaster just to get the thing fucking working. I hate how everything, even single player games for some reason, somehow requires an internet connection all the time for no obvious reason, like it'll die of loneliness without constant reassurance. I hate feeling like every game I own is somehow living on borrowed time, like at any moment some asshole developer might decide to pull the plug and shut it all down. But most of all, I miss the simple pleasure of just putting a game in and playing the fucking thing, and knowing that it's mine forever and I could come back to it 10 years from now if I wanted and still be able to pick up where I left off. As a little side note, that really did happen with Final Fantasy VIII on the PlayStation. I got so stuck on the Adele fight back in 1999 that I threw a big hissy fit, chucked the game in a drawer and didn't fire it up again until 2008, found my old save file on the memory card and finally battled my way through to the end almost 10 years after buying it. Fuck, I hate that game. Anyway, I digress. It seems like I'm not the only one who feels like gamers are getting a bit of a shitty deal these days, which is why the Stop Killing Games movement has gained so much traction over the past few weeks. And I'll be honest, I 100% agree with them. Something has to be done to safeguard gamers and their purchases and guarantee some kind of post-life support for older games. And look, I know we're never going to go back to what we had 20 years ago. Games now are orders of magnitude bigger and more complex than they were back in the 90s and the 2000s, and it's good that we're still pushing the boundaries of what's technically possible. Although I'd argue that we're kind of reaching the limits of what can be done graphically, but that's another discussion. And yeah, it's nice that developers can fix bugs that might have slipped through playtesting, but holy fuck, we need to reach some kind of compromise with this one because the current model is killing the industry. If I might be so bold on this one, I would suggest 3 major changes to how things are done. 1. A guarantee that every game must be shipped in playable condition. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but it at least has to be playable through from start to finish without a single patch or update. Any company that fails to meet this bare minimum requirement should be subject to heavy fines and possible removal of their publishing license for repeat offenders. Yes, it'll probably mean longer development cycles, but you know what? It's absolutely worth it in the long run. 2. A third-party repository of all patches and updates for obsolete games, which can be freely accessed by anyone with a valid copy of said game. Any company which is removing support for their older games or shutting down its servers should be legally required to move all of their support material over to this third-party server and pay a portion of all future sales revenue towards its upkeep. 3. An end to always online functionality. Any game should be playable offline no matter the style or the genre. I don't need my every move and decision being constantly fed back and shared for vaguely defined research purposes, and if I want to play a game on my own in my house with no internet connection, then that is my fucking right. And it should be yours too. Now, I don't pretend to know if any of these ideas can or will be implemented, but goddamn, something needs to change in the industry, because just like the bloated and overpriced software that it produces now, it feels like it's collapsing under its own greed, weight, and excess. And well, people have had enough now. I know I have. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.